The lights inside the Nairobi Global Tech Forum dimmed. Elon Musk stepped onto the brightly lit stage to thunderous applause. His voice was steady, visionary. AI will revolutionize Africa. SpaceX will connect villages to satellites, and will bring automation to every corner. People nodded, some clapped. He smiled, confident. Cameras streamed it live. Twitter exploded. But in the front row, Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't move. His face was calm, still. Then the moderator asked, "Captain Traoré, as a leader of a rising African nation, how do you feel about this vision?" Silence. The room leaned in. He slowly rose, adjusted his uniform, eyes sharp, voice firm but low. Then came the sentence that dropped like thunder. "You didn't build for us. You built over us." The audience gasped. Some chuckled nervously. Others froze. Elon blinked. No one moved. The silence became heavier than the lights above them. Cameras zoomed in. Journalists whispered frantically. Something had shifted in that moment, and deep down, Elon knew it too. But what did he really mean? Within an hour, the clip hit 12 million views. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's words weren't just heard, they were felt. They echoed in classrooms, boardrooms, villages, and capitals. "You didn't build for us, you built over us." Simple, devastating. Elon Musk's response hadn't yet come, but the internet had. One Nigerian schoolteacher posted, "He's right. We have towers and tech, but kids still walk 10 kilometers for water." A Ghanaian tech founder added, "Startups die here because we can't afford Elon's infrastructure." Suddenly, this wasn't just about technology, it was about dignity. Old photos resurfaced. Children under Starlink antennas without schools. Videos of dusty clinics where no solar panel had been installed. Some African influencers supported Musk. "He's helping," one said. But others weren't so sure. CNN replayed the moment, so did Al Jazeera. BBC called it the 5 seconds that shook the Silicon dream. Meanwhile, Traoré had left the summit hall quietly. No press, but in a dim corner of the building. Elon stood staring at a screen replaying the clip over and over. He muttered to himself, "Did I really fail them?" Back in Ouagadougou, Captain Traoré walked into his mother's house quietly, long after midnight. No guards, no press, just the smell of old wood and peanut stew. His mother sat on a small stool, watching a cracked phone screen. The clip was playing. Again. She looked up at her son, eyes full, voice trembling. "Ibrahim, that sentence," she said softly. "It came from your father, didn't it?" He nodded, sat beside her, took her hand. "When I was a boy," he whispered, "Baba said, they'll build towers, but never touch the roots. If you ever get the mic, speak for the ones beneath it." Outside, fireworks cracked. Protesters cheered in Mali. Youth marched in Uganda holding signs. "We are not a market. We are a people." Inside, his mother wept. They needed that, Ibrahim. Not just Africans, the world. Meanwhile, Elon Musk was on a private call with his PR team. He was angry, defensive. "Draft me a statement," he snapped. "Something smart, professional. Fix this." But something inside him wasn't at ease. His phone vibrated again. A message. Just 4 words from a Nobel laureate. "Don't fix it. Face it." As the applause died down, you could hear it. The whir of the cameras zooming in. The faint echo of Traoré's words bouncing off the marble walls. "You didn't build for us. You built over us." Elon Musk stood still, blinking, lips parted. A moment passed. Then another. The moderator cleared her throat, clearly shaken. "Mr. Musk, would you like to respond?" Elon leaned forward slowly, gripping the mic. I think that's a bit unfair," he said, voice tight. We've connected African schools to satellites. We've brought internet to places no one else would. But the audience wasn't clapping. In fact, many had their phones out. Not for selfies, but to tweet, record, and share. On screen, the words appeared in real time. Built over us, Africa speaks. Traoré truth. From Kenya to Baltimore, people were posting old images of high-tech towers beside collapsing hospitals. A child under a Starlink antenna, barefoot, reading on sand. And back in the summit hall, Ibrahim Traoré just stood, silent and still. Elon looked at him again. But for the first time, not as a billionaire, but as a student in the presence of something far deeper. The video clip reached 20 million views in less than 12 hours. But it was what happened in a dusty schoolyard in northern Burkina Faso that would break the world's heart. A reporter visited a tiny school. Tin roof, no doors. She asked a boy named Malik, 9, what he thought of Traoré's sentence. Malik looked into the camera and said, "He told the truth. We see big towers, but still no water. My little sister died because there was no hospital." Silence. The journalist wiped her eyes on camera. That clip went even more viral than the summit itself. Millions began resharing it with the caption, "This is who Elon forgot." In Los Angeles, a woman watching the clip burst into tears. In Ghana, school children drew posters. "We are under your towers, but we are unseen." Traoré hadn't just spoken for Burkina Faso. He had spoken for the invisible. Back in the Summit Hotel, Elon watched Malik's clip in silence. He sat alone, phone shaking in his hand. For the first time in his career, he didn't have an answer. 2 days later, a handwritten envelope arrived at the reception of the Summit Hotel. It was addressed simply, "Mr. Elon Musk, for your heart, not your mind." Inside was a letter from a woman named Aicha, a nurse in Niger. She had watched the summit live. Her words were soft but piercing. "Dear Mr. Musk, when your satellites came, we celebrated. But when my generator failed during childbirth and a mother bled to death, your towers could not help me. You're brilliant. But brilliance without humanity is just brightness in the dark. Thank you for your efforts. But please, listen. For once, listen." Elon read it 3 times, folded it, stared out the window. On the street below, people were protesting peacefully, holding signs, singing songs. But none of them were angry. They were hurt. Back on stage, Traoré had gone silent since that sentence. He hadn't tweeted, no interviews, no camera shows. It made people feel like he wasn't trying to go viral. He was just telling the truth. And that made his voice louder than all the money in the room. 3 days after the summit, a clip surfaced that broke people. It wasn't flashy. No lights, no microphones. Just a doctor. From Dakar, Senegal. Her voice shaking, her eyes heavy. She stood in a small, crowded hospital with rusted beds. She pointed to the ceiling fan, barely turning. "When Elon's Starlink came, we hoped. But our power dies 5 times a day. What's the point of fast internet if my patient can't get oxygen?" She looked down at a girl, barely breathing. Then she whispered, "We don't need dreams, we need dignity." The video went viral. Over 30 million views in 24 hours. Even celebrities shared it. One tweet read, "Africa isn't asking for pity, they're asking to be seen." And still, Traoré remained silent. No press tour, no podcast, no stage. That silence made people trust him more, because it wasn't about attention. It was about truth, and the truth was spreading like fire. He came at night. No cameras, no tweets, just Elon Musk, in a black shirt, landing quietly in Burkina Faso. He didn't tell his team, didn't alert the media, he just showed up. Captain Traoré was already waiting, standing under a simple tree near a rural health post. They didn't shake hands at first. Elon looked around. No satellite dishes, no screens, Just children playing with sticks. Is this where your internet's supposed to reach? He asked. Traoré didn't blink. This is where your internet never tried to reach. They walked in silence to the clinic. One generator. One nurse. No medicine. A baby coughed softly in the dark, and Elon's face changed. Gone was the confident billionaire. He looked like a boy, lost in the wreckage of a dream he thought was noble. I thought we were helping, Elon said. Traoré finally spoke. You tried to help on top of us. You never asked what we needed. For the first time in years, Elon Musk had no comeback. Later that night, Elon sat alone under the Burkina sky. He stared at the stars, the same ones his satellites danced across. But now they looked different. He opened his phone. A single bar of signal. No Wi-Fi, no 5G, just silence. He scrolled through his feed. Millions still arguing, debating, screaming. He opened a draft tweet. I visited Burkina Faso today. Eye-opening, emotional. Thank you, Captain Traoré. Then, he deleted it. Why? Because not everything should be a post. Some moments should just hurt quietly. In the darkness, he remembered Aicha's letter. Brilliance without humanity is just brightness in the dark. He finally understood. Back inside, Traoré was praying softly. Not for victory, but for awakening. That night the world didn't get a flashy announcement. No interviews, no dramatic post. But a seed was planted, not in the cloud but in the soil, and that seed was truth. Her name was Jamila. She lived in the village of Komsilga, 40 kilometers outside of Ouagadougou. The night her daughter collapsed from fever, she ran through the dark with the child on her back. She had one hope, to call the clinic in town. But there was no signal. None. Just a Starlink tower glowing above her village. Powerful, bright, and useless. By the time she reached the clinic, her baby had stopped breathing. She buried her at sunrise, wrapped in a white cloth. No coffin. Days later, Jamila saw the viral clip on a neighbor's cracked phone. Traoré's voice. You didn't build for us. You built over us. She froze. Her hands trembled. It was as if he had spoken for her pain, a pain no one had ever cared to hear. She cried, not because she was weak, but because finally, someone had seen her. Her story, captured by a local journalist, went viral across the continent. And for the first time, people cried not because of a speech, but because of a mother in the dark, holding a child who never had a chance. Elon Musk had been silent for days. No tweets, no statements, no press. His silence was starting to feel like guilt. Until suddenly, he posted one sentence. Maybe I built towers and forgot the people under them. The internet cracked open. Some called it a PR move. Others called it repentance. But the responses were overwhelming. Traoré didn't reply, but someone else did. A Kenyan teacher named Amos wrote, You forgot us, yes, but it's not too late to look down and lift us up. That tweet got over 10 million likes. Journalists called it the moment the world took a breath. Elon later reposted it with just 3 words. I'm still listening. Behind the scenes, a quiet meeting happened. Traoré, Musk, 2 advisors, no cameras. They didn't argue. Traoré simply placed 3 photos on the table. A dying clinic with no power. A child with a book but no school. Jamila and her baby's grave. Build here, he said, and start by asking, not assuming. And for once. Elon nodded. Weeks passed. The media noise faded. But in Africa, something was rising. A new campaign began. Not started by governments, but by young people. It was called From the Ground Up. Students from Lagos to Kigali took pictures of their broken desks. Mothers filmed themselves cooking with firewood under Starlink dishes. The world began to see what Traoré meant. They built for the air, but we live in the soil. In Burkina Faso, under a mango tree, Traoré spoke to children. He asked them what they wanted to be. One girl, 12 years old, said softly, "I want to fix the machines that forgot us." That line was quoted in Time magazine. Elon read it, eyes full. He had just visited another health center, built from scratch, with solar panels, cold storage, and free internet, this time requested by the villagers themselves. It wasn't flashy, but it was real. That night, standing alone on Burkina soil, Elon looked up at his satellites. For the first time, they didn't make him proud. They made him responsible. And maybe that's where real progress begins. Not in the sky, but in the dirt where footprints remain. The rain poured hard in the village of Diapangu near the Niger border. Little Salif, only 11 years old, was trying to do something simple: charge his mother's old phone. It had his only photo with his late father. There was a Starlink router nearby, blinking with life. But the school beside it had no power, no roof, just mud walls and desks made of broken wood. Salif slipped in the mud trying to plug the charger into a donated panel. He hit the ground hard. The phone cracked. He cried, not from pain but from loss. He walked home, soaked, holding the dead phone like a wounded bird. When a volunteer teacher asked him why he was crying, he said, "They gave us the sky, but they forgot the floor." The teacher shared his story online. Just one photo. Salif barefoot, wet, eyes red. It reached Elon Musk's desk in California. He stared at it, zoomed in, then zoomed in again. Not at the boy, not at the mud, but at the shattered phone, the symbol of what went wrong. That night, Elon didn't sleep, and the world quietly waited for what he would do next. From the highlands of Rwanda, an unexpected message arrived. A woman named Esperance, 66 years old, recorded a short video with the help of her grandson. She was sitting outside her clay house, the wind brushing her gray hair. In her quiet voice, she said, "Dear Mr. Musk, your machines fly over our heads, but we still walk for water, sleep in darkness, and lose babies to heat." She paused, then added, "I'm not angry. I just want you to visit. No cameras, no speech, just come and see how we live." The video went viral, not because it was loud, but because it was real. She wasn't asking for money. She was asking to be seen. A few days later, Elon replied, not with a tweet, but a flight. He landed in Rwanda unannounced, quiet, private. And when he met Esperance, he didn't speak at first. He just sat beside her, looking out over the hills. She served him water in a small cup. He drank. And for the first time, the man who sent rockets to Mars realized he'd never really touched the Earth. It had been 3 weeks since that sentence. "You didn't build for us. You built over us." Captain Ibrahim Traoré had remained silent. No interviews, no social media, no speeches. People thought he had moved on. But he hadn't. He was waiting. And finally, at the African Union Conference in Addis Ababa, he stood once more. This time not in a suit, but in his military fatigues, plain, grounded. The room went quiet. He looked around. Slowly, thoughtfully. Then he spoke. "This isn't about Elon Musk. It's about all of us. Governments, corporations, even leaders like me. We speak of progress, but we forget the people." He paused, then added, "Africa doesn't need to catch up to the world. The world needs to slow down and listen." There was no applause at first, just silence. A heavy, emotional silence that made even journalists lower their cameras. Then, slow clapping, rising, from presidents, from students, from workers, from everywhere. That clip went viral too, but this time, people didn't share it to argue. They shared it to cry, because they finally saw a leader who didn't want to be worshipped. He just wanted his people to be heard. In a quiet village in Togo, a young girl named Halima died of malaria. Her father buried her under the shade of a baobab tree. The Starlink dish above the village blinked its blue light that night. But Halima had no bed, no mosquito net, no medicine. Her father carved her name into the trunk of the tree with a rusted nail. Later, a journalist passing through asked him what he thought of Elon Musk's satellites. He didn't answer. He just pointed upward, then downward. "They look at the sky," he whispered, "but my child sleeps in the ground." That quote hit international headlines. It made news anchors cry. And once again, Ibrahim Traoré said nothing. Because pain doesn't always need an explanation. It just needs witnesses. Back in California, Elon Musk read the story in silence. Then he turned to his engineering team and said, "We build beautiful machines. But now, I want us to build quiet miracles on the ground." And from that day forward, things changed. Not online, but on soil. 3 months later, something happened that didn't make global headlines, but should have. A small primary school in Bobo Dioulasso finally got electricity. Not from a corporation, not from a government, but from a partnership born of that summit moment, Ibrahim Traoré's vision and Elon Musk's resources, one solar panel, one battery, one flickering bulb. That night, 10 children stayed after class, just to read under that light. A teacher captured the moment. A photo of kids smiling wide under a single bulb, books in their hands, the chalkboard clean. She posted it with the caption, "For the first time, my students believe the future isn't far away." The image went viral, not for drama, but for hope. That post reached every corner of the world. And at the bottom of the photo, scrawled in chalk, were the words, "Thank you for coming back to the ground." When Elon saw it, he didn't cry publicly, but he forwarded it to Traoré with one simple message: "We're just getting started." And Traoré? He replied with 2 words: "Together now." 1 year later, no massive launch, no trending hashtag, but something was growing. Over 100 new clinics had been built across West Africa, with the people, not just for them. Schools powered by real solar energy. Roads paved, not promised. Wells dug deeper than hashtags. And in the heart of Ouagadougou, a bronze statue stood tall, not of Traoré, not of Musk, but of a barefoot girl holding a book and looking at the stars. Under it, the words carved in stone: "Build with us, not over us." The world had changed, not by one speech, but by one sentence, one truth, one seed planted in pain. And in every village, every voice, every child finally seen. That seed began to bloom. If this story touched your heart, if it made you pause, made you cry, don't just scroll past. Click like, not for me, but for every unseen voice. Comment below. What does build with us mean to you? Subscribe if you believe in stories that heal, unite, and awaken. Together, let's build something that lifts from the ground up.